Hello, my good people. Welcome back. Today I am joined by some mint tea, and I just wanted to share some feelings and observations that I have about mint tea, and also just some common sense Ayurvedic practices. I like to have mint tea pretty much every day, but it's really great if you're somebody who tends to kind of have your head out in the clouds and kind of really struggle with some very fluttery states, maybe struggling with focus. Mint is very invigorating and uplifting, but it's also very grounding at the same time. So, particularly in times when I'm feeling a little manic, I will stay away from the coffee and just have mint tea because it gives me that little bit of a mood boost without pushing me into a territory where I'm just like overstimulated. Otherwise, I do enjoy coffee, and I love to go into kind of caffeine and the effects that it has on your cortisol and all that good stuff in a future episode. But for today, I am promoting some mint tea. Good for you. Very good for your mood, very good for your health. Mm, I speak the truth. All right. So, today, we're going to get into the topic of affirmations. And this is really in response to someone that commented on my video a couple weeks ago and was expressing that they feel kind of phony when they say encouraging things to themselves. We were talking about learning and how trauma can make it very difficult to learn for a lot of different reasons. And this person was saying that they seem to have no problem taking outside criticism, but when they're kind of dealing with talking to themselves and like dealing with their inner bully and then trying to overcome that with some, like, I am good enough, I am strong, I am beautiful, those kind of affirmations, it feels like it falls flat and like their subconscious isn't really accepting it. So I want to talk about that. And, firstly, I want to say that I come and go on affirmations. I think they're a useful tool, but I'm not always using them. Affirmations is something that's very cognitive. You're having a conscious effort to try to program yourself. There's a time for that, and then there's a time for you to be like, all right, shut up and just embody and like do the thing. Use it when it feels like you're maybe getting somewhere with it, and then when it feels like there's just a lot of resistance there, or like it feels too silly, or your subconscious is just not in a state where it's going to accept it, drop it. One of the myths that I think exist about affirmations is that you have to believe it in order for your subconscious to bite on it. And I don't believe that is true. You're saying affirmations to yourself, and they're going to feel very unfamiliar if you're not used to your thoughts moving in that direction. They're going to feel fake. Your subconscious is going to be like, whoa, we don't normally speak to ourselves in this way. This feels like a foreign voice in a way, and it's going to likely reject it. But doubt is fine. When you say an affirmation to yourself and there's another voice underlying that says, I don't believe this, this isn't true, I don't have any evidence for this, that voice being there is fine. It is allowed to exist. It is allowed to coincide while you are in the process, which takes a long time to reprogram your subconscious. As soon as you say that doubt is not allowed to be there and that you have to have like this perfect belief or it's not going to work, then you manifest that doubt is not allowed to be there. So, because you've said doubt is not acceptable in this equation of making an affirmation work, if doubt comes up, then the affirmation is not going to stick because you have this opposing belief. You want to get your conscious mind to notice when the thing that you are affirming is true. So, if I'm saying to myself, I am bad at learning, and I want to, or I have that held belief that I am bad at learning, and I want to change it into a belief that I am good at learning. I am simply directing my conscious mind to filter for evidence of me being a good learner. The interesting thing is, I've noticed with learning, whenever I am not conscious that I am learning, I have no problem with it. Like, we are very suggestible well into our adult, like until we die, we are very, very suggestible and very open to being changed. I often think actually when it comes to neuroplasticity, it's a long held belief that you're very neuroplastic when you're young, like until maybe like 13 or so you're an adolescent and you can learn super quickly, and then kind of after that point it starts to slow down and it gets slower and slower into your adult years. And I I contest that idea. I think maybe it's more nurture than it is nature. Like, is it an inevitable thing that our DNA is just primed to go in that direction? Or is it the fact that our neuroplasticity slows down as we age because we get hurt and because we download so many limiting beliefs throughout our years that it basically gunks up our neuroplasticity? And then when you're actually looking at it on like a brain scan or, some sort of measuring of neuroplasticity, you see that, like, oh yes, it's slower in adults, but not equating for the fact that there was something that happened environmentally that caused that neuroplasticity to slow down. In a way, it's like we become more self-conscious as we age. And if you are in a state while you're learning where your default mode network is super active, meaning that like you're just chatterbox chatting to yourself, that creates a huge wall from things easily flowing into your subconscious. To just something is suggested to you, you're learning something, and it just bites it up and doesn't offer any sort of alternate idea. If you want some evidence for just how suggestible we are, just think of like the media. Like, I know that I can be brainwashed very easily. We all can. We can all be told something, and especially if we hear it from a voice that seems like it's an authority, we just eat it up. Like, you go to the doctor, they tell you you're sick, and you believe them. Like, why wouldn't you? We can all be programmed at any point in our life. When I really started to play around with affirmations when dealing with this blocked idea that I'm not good at learning and that it's hard for me to learn, I started looking for evidence of places where I learned actually quite easily without really any effort, or just a lot of ease. There are different like jobs that I've done, different skills that I've learned very easily when there was just no resistance. Like, there was no thought that was blocking me from being able to digest the information that I needed to learn. I wasn't self-conscious of myself. Like, I wasn't super aware that I was going to struggle. I didn't have ideas about struggle. I just went in. When I'm not conscious that I'm learning, I can learn very easily, very quickly. So then when I tell myself I have this idea or this belief that it's hard to learn or that I'm not good at learning, the evidence in my experience is actually quite to the contrary. It's not true. It is not true that I can't learn. I can learn very easily when I'm not aware. It's when I'm sitting there bullying myself that my brain like goes offline and I can't take the suggestions that I'm giving myself through learning. Try to think of affirmations as a tool that is simply trying to motivate your mind into a certain direction. You don't have to believe it's like an absolute truth at the current place that you are in, but you are trying to direct your mind's eye into the attention and direction of what is that you are affirming to be true. The other side of this coin is then going to be obviously doing the best you can to dismiss the evidence to the contrary. So maybe you struggle with something in a way and you're like, there's evidence that I'm the same old person, that nothing has changed. Everything I'm trying to affirm myself is bullshit. Dismiss it. Like, it's just old programming. It's stuff that was suggested to your subconscious when you were a child and you had no idea. You had no awareness. You had no ability to be like, reject that, subconscious. That's not for us. That's not true. That's a bully trying to get us down and trying to kind of cut us off and keep us from competing with them because they're super insecure. And look, insecure is another word for fear. Like, insecure has a bad connotation, and we kind of use it in a way to be like, oh, you're insecure. Like, it's a diss. It's like a criticism, but like, insecurity is fear, and it's a very normal human thing. And we don't have to like demonize it so much. That's my opinion. We all have insecurities. Take one more sip of my mint tea here before we finish up. Mm. Yes, it does. It does do the things. So wrapping up this little discussion on affirmations, it's a tool. It's a tool. If you feel a lot of resistance to using it, just drop it for now. But when affirmations work, they work quite well. Keep reprogramming and repatterning your conscious to follow a certain direction, and eventually your subconscious will eat it. Will take it. So that's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments what you think about affirmations, what your experience has been with it. Do you think they're really effective? Do they seem really phony? Do they feel like they work sometimes but not other times? Uh, yeah, let's talk about it. Please do subscribe, like this video, do all that stuff to help support my channel if you're enjoying my content. And I will see you again in a few days. Ciao for now.